Welcome back to the Candid Conversation show. My name is Muriel, and on the show, we discuss topics that are unspoken and taboo in our community. Our guest tonight is Dominique Battle. She is a board-certified counselor, certified family therapist, and a registered mental health counselor intern. We will be discussing topics that affect many women, postpartum depression.
Welcome to Candid Conversations, Dominique.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. The viewers requested this topic tonight. I'm so excited to have you here. But before we jump into that conversation, we do want to get to know a little bit about you. Can you tell us where you were born? Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Definitely. I was born in New York.
Okay.
My dad is Haitian. My mom is American.
All right.
But I was raised primarily in Georgia. I spent some time in Miami, but not too much.
Okay.
So I completed high school and undergraduate school in Georgia.
Okay.
I went on to graduate from college with my bachelor's degree. I have 2 master's degrees, and I'm currently pursuing my
go,
PhD
girl.
My goodness.
You go.
in organizational development. I have a 14-year-old. I have an amazing husband. I also suffered an infant loss when I was in high school.
sorry
I
about
do have
that.
another daughter that's no longer here.
Sorry about that.
I love mental health, and I love everything that I do. I have 2 private practices, one in Tampa, Florida, and one in Winter Park, Florida.
Wow.
And I have over 8 years of experience, education and training, now that I think about it.
You are busy.
Yes, yes, very busy.
That is great. As my sister said, as Ruby said, this conversation has been asked by the viewers. We have been asked to bring someone in here and talk about postpartum depression. A lot of women do not want to talk about it. A lot of women do want to talk about it, but they don't know where to go
Right.
or who to speak to. So tell us about your experiences with postpartum depression.
Well, my personal experiences with postpartum depression started when I was in high school.
Okay.
I did get pregnant when I was 16. I had my daughter when I was 17.
Okay.
So I did fall into that statistic, and that was something that was rough
Yes.
for
It
me.
didn't stop you, though.
Didn't stop me.
Yes.
I allowed things to kind of push me and catapult me forward. But I know that most women, or all women, don't have the same
Right.
mindset or the experiences to teach them that. So I did have a child. I gave birth when I was 17 years old. My child lived for a day, and then she died the next day.
So
Today
sorry
is
about that.
March 10th is actually her birthday.
Oh, wow.
So that was difficult for me.
So sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But a few years after that, I did have a son. Now, because of my experiences with my daughter, there were so many emotions
Of course.
that came with that. There were so many behavioral changes
Yes.
that came with that. And he was premature, so he was
Okay.
3 pounds and 2.7
Oh,
ounces.
my
Wow.
goodness.
And he spent about a month and a half in the
hospital.
NICU. Yeah. So I was 21. I was married. I was in undergrad. And I didn't know how to deal with it all.
Okay.
And it really, really took me to a dark place.
So you end up getting some counseling?
I did. I did see one of the school counselors on campus that really, really helped me a lot.
Okay.
She helped me to understand some of the messages that we have in our heads
Yes.
about what it means to be a mom, what it means to be a black mom, how we have this superwoman
Yes.
syndrome.
Mentality, right.
And
Definitely
so we want to do it all, we want to have it all, which is what I was trying to do.
Yes.
And it just
Yeah.
wasn't working.
No.
It was not
Yeah.
You
working.
can't do it all.
Definitely not. But no, my counselor did really, really help me
Okay.
understand a lot of things. And I was able to come out stronger because of it.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying.
I see.
From
So
your-
that's one of the reasons. Sorry. So that's one of the reasons as well that you chose this profession.
Definitely.
So you can help other
definitely.
women.
Yeah, definitely one of the reasons.
Okay. That's great. We need that. We need the help.
Yes.
I know my niece is going through that right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely all need it.
Absolutely. Why do you feel that it's important for us to have this type of conversation regarding postpartum depression? What is it?
Postpartum depression is a mood disorder that we experience during pregnancy and right after childbirth up to a year. And of course, we have the baby blues
Yes.
once we have a baby. But a lot of women kind of put the two together
Okay.
and don't really know how to separate it from this is just the baby blues and this is where I need to probably get some more help. The baby blues in and of itself affects 70 to 80% of women.
Okay.
So that does affect a lot of people where they have the different mood changes and
Right.
the mood swings and the irritability. But what turns it from baby blues to postpartum is where those particular symptoms are more severe and they last a little bit longer.
Right.
So baby blues last from maybe a few days after birth up into maybe about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Postpartum can last up to 6 months to a year.
Right.
And you can go from having the mood swings, the irritability, the fatigue, the shame and guilt,
Okay.
to the more severe part of postpartum where you are having thoughts of wanting to harm your child
Right.
Oh.
or wanting to harm yourself.
Right.
Because you have this fear of not being a mother. So it's a very debilitating
Yes.
disease.
So when that takes place, or when you get to that point, and either you ask for help, or somebody realizes that, wait a minute, something's not right, does the doctor then do they give medication, or is there just counseling that takes place?
They can. So medication and counseling are the two treatments that we try to enforce when
Okay.
it comes to that. But if you can experience postpartum before you have the baby.
Right.
So because you can also experience it during pregnancy,
Okay.
then they try to not give medication if they
So
don't have
you
to.
can experience that.
You can
during
experience
pregnancy?
it during pregnancy.
Okay.
And they once they realized it, they even changed the name of it and how we diagnose.
Okay.
So it's gone from, for the most part, postpartum depression to peripartum
Yeah.
depression.
I was surprised to see that. Yeah.
Because you can experience it on both.
Yeah.
So if the patient or the woman is pregnant, then they try not to give medication. But if it's on the more severe side and there are thoughts of suicide, thoughts of harm,
Have to.
then they have to. But you definitely want to talk to your physician
Absolutely.
about the things that you're experiencing.
Okay.
And just to one of the things that I think is the most important is that I want women to be aware of their power and aware that you are the expert of your body.
right.
So regardless of what anybody says, if you know that you're having these feelings
Right.
and you know that these things are affecting you,
Right.
to tell your doctor. If he's not listening, go to another doctor. And
Right.
if they're not listening, go to another
Another
one
doctor, right.
to make sure that you're being heard and that you're, being cared for in the way that you should be.
Good. What are some of the common myths out there that they talk about with
So many.
postpartum depression?
One of the common myths is that it only happens in women. And so men, up to 10% of men who are new fathers
Right.
can experience postpartum depression within 3 to 6 months of pregnancy.
I have heard that.
Yeah, and most people don't think that that's the case. A myth about it is that you're a bad parent or you're a bad mother because you're feeling these feelings. So whenever, we on social media, in our families, in all of these different arenas, we're told that being a mom is joyous and
Right.
it should be amazing. And we should have the, the baby showers.
Right.
But for the women who find motherhood to be difficult, that can be sort of a shaming experience. And so they think that they're a bad mother
Right.
because they find motherhood difficult and it's not
Right.
enjoyable for them. And so just knowing that it's not because you're a bad parent.
Right.
It is actually a chemical imbalance.
Yes.
There's nothing that you can do to prevent it.
Right.
There's nothing that you can do to stop it once
No.
it happens. It is absolutely not your fault if this thing,
Yeah.
decides to appear
Okay.
in your life.
And it's not in all women.
It's not in all
No.
women. No. It's in maybe about, it affects 1 to 7 women
Okay.
who are either pregnant or after childbirth. So it's not in all,
Right.
but it's definitely in a good amount of women. In
Okay.
order, so what I like to tell women is to ask doctors or ask physicians or counselors for early mental health screenings.
Oh, okay.
Because there are certain risk factors that not necessarily predict, because you can't really predict it, but it can say, hey, these things are here. Let's make sure that we watch out for this
Yes.
in this particular woman. And some of those risk factors are low income. If you have depression before you got pregnant, then you're more likely to get postpartum depression once you have a baby. If you have a family history of depression, even if you've never experienced it, then that can be a risk factor for
Wow.
you.
Really?
If the dad isn't involved, if you don't have family support or social
And you're
support.
by yourself. pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you share some of the symptoms that are associated with this?
Sure. Feelings of hopelessness, so feeling like your situation has no end
Right.
and that you need to do something terrible to get out of it. Feeling a lot of guilt because you do feel like it should be a joyous experience and you don't feel that joy.
Right.
Fatigue, mood swings, and they can go from simple mood swings that we normally get, as women, or the more severe where you either want to stay in bed all day or you're completely happy and goal-oriented.
Right.
Your appetite changes, your sleep changes, you get angry, and you have crying spells.
Okay.
You have thoughts of suicide for some. You have thoughts of wanting to harm your baby or fear that you're going to harm your baby.
Okay.
So if any of these things come up, difficulty in concentrating, things like that.
You need to
then
speak to someone.
Definitely.
Okay.
What are some things that people can do?
Talk to your doctor.
That's the main
Definitely,
thing. And
that's
speak
the
to your
main
doctor.
thing. Speak to your doctor. Try to be aware of your body and the different changes that it's going through. Try to maintain your idea of what your baseline is, so how you normally act,
Right.
and compare that to where you are now. Ask, do research, read books. There are so many books out there on the symptoms, on what to look out for. Talk to your friends, because sometimes if you don't have the strength or the courage to call somebody,
Your friend will.
they will.
Your friend, your spouse, your
Exactly.
whatever family
Exactly.
member.
And to know that you're not alone.
Right.
Yes.
You're not
yes.
alone.
So how can we support somebody with postpartum depression? What can we do?
Be mindful of their behaviors. Be mindful of if they are normally outgoing and social people, when they start to isolate or
Right.
withdraw, especially with the new baby, then it's just
a
to
red
have a
flag.
conversation. Yeah, to have a conversation.
Okay.
If they are more angry and irritable than they usually are, that's a sign.
Okay.
If they are crying out of nowhere, like nothing is provoking
Right.
it, nothing is starting it, they just start to cry.
Yes.
If they're sad a lot.
Okay.
If their mood completely changes, any kind of emotional changes that they necessarily undergo. If they normally like to eat and they're an eater, and then they all of a sudden, stop eating.
Yes, that's a red flag.
Yes, it is. If they're sleeping too much or too little.
Right.
Because sleep with the new baby is difficult
Of
in and
course.
of itself.
Yes.
They tell you to sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yes.
But if they're not sleeping when the baby sleeps and they're not sleeping any other time, then that's
Yes.
definitely a red flag.
Of course.
And listen. Sometimes people will tell you how they feel.
Yes.
And if we are able to listen, just to listen and not
Pick it
listen
up.
to respond
There
or
you
listen
go.
to being so ready to encourage that we forget to listen,
Right.
then it kind of prevents them or discourages them
Yeah.
from
So
wanting
cry
to
for
talk
help.
about it.
They're really trying to cry for help.
Exactly.
And they're just, oh no, it's okay. It's a new
Exactly.
baby.
Yeah.
You'll be
Right.
okay.
It happens to all
You'll
of
get
us.
over it.
know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we really need to listen.
Yeah.
And I know you were talking about how in some cases, if the woman is pregnant, of course, they would not put them on medication, but then afterwards that they would. Do you think there's a large amount of women that are taking medication after they've had their babies? Do you feel?
I think that there are a large amount that have been told to take medication. But women, in my experience from the women that I've seen in my practice, they vary around their ideals or their mindset around medication. So a lot of them don't like it.
Right.
So they will try other methods. They will try other things to try not to have to get on medication. Even though it may be necessary just to be able to balance the chemical imbalance that's happening. So a lot of people have been prescribed it, not necessarily taking
Taking
it.
it.
Right.
Okay.
And it's very important to take it, because if it's at the point of you needing medication, then it means that for whatever reason, and not a bad reason, you're not able to prevent these things from happening. And we need to, in order for therapy to work to its magnitude, you have to be able to intake that information and retain it.
Okay.
And if you're so imbalanced that you can't retain the information that you're given in therapy, then we need to get you at a place where you can get it.
Okay.
Yes.
And so once you have it, you know how to put it into place in your life. But if something is blocking you from first getting the information, then we need to be able to balance that out so we can help you.
Well said.
I know. I like that. Yeah. Are there certain ethnicities that this affects more than others, or doesn't?
It affects black women twice as much as white women.
Right. I thought.
For a lot of different reasons.
Yes.
For lack of access to
Of
the
course.
right doctors, for just not understanding that this is something that we deal with.
Right.
Okay.
From the societal and social structures that tell us that we just deal with it.
Of
It's the baby
course.
blues. Don't worry about it. And so it kind of stops them from wanting to get the help. And a lot of black women meet with doctors or they meet with physicians, and they're not being heard.
Yeah.
They're not being
I heard.
listened to when
Yeah.
it comes to their body. Sometimes we as a collective will walk into the physician's office to get help, and they see our skin color, they hear our symptoms, and they automatically assume what it is that we have without listening to our
Right.
personal experiences and our environmental stressors that can be adding to this. And so we want to make sure to empower ourselves,
Okay.
because everybody won't advocate for you the way that you would advocate for you.
Do you think a woman would be better to treat another woman?
Possibly so. I think men can do it. I just don't know what the barrier is to them being able to do it. I think even black women who are doctors, I think sometimes have a hard time, because even me as a therapist, as a black therapist, I have to be sure that when I'm meeting with another black woman, that I don't automatically identify with that
Right.
black woman.
Listen,
I do.
Yes.
I do. And sometimes we as black women, we see another sister.
Of course.
And we identify with them without listening to their personal stories and their personal histories. So even though we're both black and you're my sister, your experiences and your reality
There you
may
go.
be completely different from
Absolutely.
mine. So I think that women can, but I think that just because we're human, they also over-identify and then automatically assume that this may be the issue.
that might not be it at all.
It might not be it at all.
Is there a lot of deaths associated with this, especially within our culture?
Not a lot that's reported.
Okay, okay.
Because if a death happens, it may be reported as associated with something else. So a lot of things about African American culture, as well as other cultures
Right.
of people of color, if it's not reported, then we don't have the statistics.
Right.
And so it seems like
I get
it's
it.
not happening.
Okay.
But it may be happening.
Right.
And so if we can build the awareness, which you ladies are doing around this issue, and teach women to be empowered
Yes.
in what they do and what they need to do with their own bodies, then I think when those problems arise and those issues come up, that there will be more reports because there's more advocacy and more
Absolutely.
empowerment around it.
Very good, very good. I know that you see a lot more women and men for a lot of other different reasons. I know that postpartum is not the only thing.
Right.
Can you share with the viewers what other people that you are, helping?
Yeah, definitely. I like to work with women primarily who are going through life transitions, whether it be postpartum depression or whether it be going through a breakup or a divorce or whether it be being a new wife, because that can
Right.
be difficult for a lot of people, having babies. So whatever difficult life transitions that they are having a hard time navigating through. Because I think there's such a beauty around that vulnerable space and being able to see a woman when they feel like they're at their worst
Right.
and help them walk through that process of getting to that empowerment and that advocacy
right.
and then seeing them fight for themselves
Right.
and seeing them advocate for themselves.
Isn't that wonderful afterwards?
It is. That evolution is so beautiful.
Yes.
And so if I'm lucky enough to be a part of it, then I definitely love working with that population. I also love working with couples who are
Yes.
also going through transitions because we're all working.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of dual career couples who are having a hard time trying to figure out how are we going to be together when we're, both out of the house.
Right.
And so I like helping them to find that balance.
Okay.
I think work-life balance is a myth.
Yes.
It's just about finding what works in the moment that you need it to work.
Yes.
Right.
And so I help them kind of change their mindset around that work-life balance and just
Very good.
find what works for them and to be able to see that as well and see their houses be in a better equal space is always amazing.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful.
It is awesome.
You're doing some good
Yes,
things.
she is.
Great works.
I want to know about your holistic approach.
To therapy.
Yes.
So I believe that we are systems and we are processes and we are not islands. We are cities and we are supposed to live, in relationship with other people.
Okay.
And so if somebody comes to my office and they are dealing with one particular issue, such as depression, then depression is a symptom, but what's the root cause? What is at the heart of this issue? And so we dive into environmental stressors. We dive into any traumas that they may have experienced, childhood or adulthood otherwise.
Okay.
What are their current relationships? What are their past relationships? How are they interacting in these relationships? Because that'll let me know how they see the world and how they view the world
Okay.
in order to be able to help change some of those negative thoughts and negative beliefs. What medical issues do they have? What past family medical issues, psychological issues that may have been apparent? Because generational trauma and generational stress is a thing.
Yes.
It's very real.
Yes.
And sometimes you can, if you are able to lay it all out in a holistic way and look at all of these different patterns,
Love it.
you can pinpoint, where certain characteristics and certain ways of communicating and certain ways of dealing with stress come from just by laying out their entire lives and seeing how
That's awesome.
they've interacted. And so if I can do that, then I work from that peeling back the layer process.
Wow.
And that way they'll not only know what they need to change, but they'll know why they need to change it. Because
Which
the
makes
why
it
is
better.
everything. It's everything.
Right, I like that. If someone's looking for help and they need to get in contact with you, how would they contact you?
They can find me at www.dominiquebattle.com. All of my information is on there. It's very easy. There are links to either of my practices on there, so they'll just click on that and they can get directed there.
Okay.
My phone number is on there. My email is dominiquembattle@gmail.com. So they can find me on there as well. I'm very approachable.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yes, you
conversational when it comes to working with them and talking with them. And so I don't like for it to feel like a formal process.
Right.
Because then that can be intimidating.
That's right.
But I feel like if it's more conversational,
Yes.
then it seems less like work and more like you're just diving into your own life. And then you come to the end of therapy and it's like, oh, we were doing
was it.
things.
I know.
Right.
I love it.
What else does Dominique have going on? Anything else that you have going on that you want to share with the viewers, or?
I am currently in the process of adding a consulting piece to my
Okay.
business to be able to, because some women may not need therapy, but they know that they are in a phase of their lives and they're just trying to get to the next one,
Okay.
Okay.
and they just need steps.
Okay.
And so in that area, I want to be able to work on those steps.
Good.
Nice.
I did say that I'm in my PhD program in organizational
Yes.
development.
You
so I wanna
did, but
be
say it again.
I'm getting my PhD
That's right.
in organizational development and change, and I want to be able to, help, because we spend so much time at work.
Yes.
We spend most of our time,
Yes.
most of our days at work. And so I want to be able to look at the systems and the processes that are happening in businesses and organizations.
Okay.
And be able to have a woman who's dealing with postpartum and be able to help them navigate that space and let them keep their jobs and then
Yes.
still let them, be able to go home.
That is
I feel like
nice.
you go to work and everything is supposed to disappear.
Right.
And our bodies and our minds don't work
No.
that way. And so
Gotta
I
shut
want
off.
to be able to get there and try to help
Yeah.
where I can.
Oh my
You're doing so much. That's
gosh.
great. We
Thank
need
you.
that because
Yes.
you're getting all the women from all different avenues.
I
That's
just
the
love
goal.
it. Listen, we're going to definitely have to have you back on because
course.
this conversation has to keep going.
I agree.
It has to keep going, so we're going to have you back on.
Awesome.
And we're so glad with what you're doing in the community. You're
Thank
just making a
you.
lot of changes, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
guys. for
Keep it
having
up.
me. I appreciate it. I will.
Thank you all for tuning in. Please tune in next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for another transformational show. In closing, postpartum depression affects 1 in 7 women during or after pregnancy. Symptoms may vary, but can include crying more often than usual, feelings of anger, withdrawing from loved ones, feeling numb or disconnected from your baby, worrying that you will hurt the baby, or feeling guilty about not being a good mom, or doubting your ability to care for the baby. You are not crazy, you are not a bad mom, and you are not alone. Things will get better. You will not feel this way forever. If you are not feeling right, then probably you're not. It's okay to reach out and find professional help. The more we talk about postpartum depression, the less taboo it becomes. Thank you for tuning in to Candid Conversations.